What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL. Shout out to the DFS squad. Shout out to everybody watching this video right now. Drop a like down below because I already know you're going to love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into that $50 giveaway that I do every single week on this channel. Last night was life-changing for many Greenlight DFS members. It was a beautiful night. It was a takedown style just like week 5 NFL pretty much. Like it was a huge night for MLB. Fantastic night, and that now leads us to back-to-back takedown nights. Now let's just focus on getting the third. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into this. I'm not going to keep up too much of your time, as you can see on the screen. Greenlight DFS Optimizer. I'm going to go through and talk about my favorite plays on this slate, and then get you guys on your way. Now let's start off with pitching. We got some big-time pitching on this slate. All right, so first things first, you guys know me. I never skimp on pitching to get bats, okay? And that's exactly what I did last night as well. I paid up, got exactly the pitchers I wanted, and then guess what? Still got the takedown with cheaper bats, all right? It literally is the most important thing. You have to get your pitchers right. Now, on a slate with cores, there's a lot of people who are going to take chances at pitchers, all right? A lot of people, a lot of groups of people who watch different videos and groups of people, period, like on Twitter and stuff like that. These guys are going to skimp on pitching to get the core's bats. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why my first look and what I'm thinking for the slate encourages you to possibly fade cores. I know this sounds crazy, but possibly fade cores. Get the pitching you want, seeing that the pitching is so nice on this slate. Get the best pitching and then skimp on those because we've got some good hitting spots outside of cores that are just as good. All right, it's not just, just because they're in cores doesn't necessarily mean anything. All right, let me start off by saying both of the pitchers in this game have been pitching incredibly well for their teams. Valdez and Castellani have both been incredible, pitching fantastic. All right, yes, at any moment these guys could get blown up. Do I think they're going to remain this amazing? No. But both of these offenses also have not been hitting the ball too great. Outside of like Carlos Correa on Houston has a solid batting average. Josh Reddick has a solid batting average. Outside of that, a lot of these Houston guys aren't hitting the ball very well. Let's flip over to the Colorado side. Definitely have some Colorado guys that are hitting it well. Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, but outside of that, Arenado doesn't have too good of an average. You know what I mean? Dahl's out of the lineup. Guys just aren't hitting the ball fantastic. You know what I mean? Like they're not crushing the ball. So it is in course though, so anything could happen. But I'm gonna give you guys what I want to do. Now, starting off at pitcher, we have DeGrom and Cole. In my opinion, you have to choose between one of these. All right, you have to choose between one of these, and because Garrett Cole is 800 less, has a higher strikeout rate, lower WHIP, better strikeout matchup against Tampa Bay, who's been striking out on average about 10 times a game almost, which is about fifth highest in the league. I'm going to go Garrett Cole as my ace. All right. I can understand if you want to go Jacob DeGrom. I have no faults for it. Miami has also been striking out a solid amount. They're about 4 teams lower than Tampa Bay. They're right there, though. They've been striking out a good bit, so I can understand you wanting Jacob DeGrom. That's perfectly fine, but he is 800 more. All right, so I'm going to save that 800, and I'm going to go Garrett Cole. I think he has a beautiful game here. Absolutely love Garrett Cole. SP2, you have guys like Glasnow against New York, who's missing Judge, missing Stanton, missing some guys. Now, the information that I have refreshed my memory on is I took a look to see how, because everybody says New York strikes out a ton, right? Well, Stanton and Judge strike out a ton, but they're missing those guys who strike out a ton. So this lineup actually is not striking out a ton on average. They're striking about 7 times a game. That's 3 times lower than Tampa Bay per game. All right, so it's not great. And Glasnow has not been pitching fantastic. All right, so let's move on. Lance Lynn going against the San Diego squad where most of their feared hitters are right-handed. Lance Lynn, I've talked about multiple times, is elite versus right-handed bats. Absolutely elite. I think Lance Lynn is going to once again have an amazing game here. Now, San Diego is a solid offense. They don't strike out a ton. They've got some power with Tatis, Machado. Cronenworth's been popping up, playing fantastic. They've got some guys that make contact, but Lance Lynn is just incredibly solid. Like I said, he is elite versus right-handed bats, okay? And a lot of the feared bats in the San Diego lineup are righties. Okay, so if he can hold Tatis in check, hold Machado in check, he's going to have a solid game here. And at 9-2, I think Lance Lynn drops another 25 to 30 performance here in this one. I love Lance Lynn. Rich Hill is another solid option. Thing that scares me is he only pitched 65 pitch count in his last game. Now, Rich Hill, let's say it bumps up to about 75, 80. If he gets 75 to 80, he can get 20 plus in this matchup against Milwaukee, okay? Milwaukee strikes out a ton. Exact reason why we played Kenta Maeda yesterday and he almost got the no-hitter. Okay, same situation. Rich Hill is a solid pitcher. He's not as good as Maeda, but he's a solid pitcher. All right, he had a solid performance in only 65 pitches last game. I would expect that to be bumped up a bit. The only thing that you risk with Rich Hill is the blister issue. He has been pulled out of so many starts. I have played him so many times where he got pulled early because of a blister on his hand, where it really scares me to play him. But at 7-4, he's definitely playable. He's a guy that you can definitely get exposure to. Now, when it comes to guys I want to pick on, I'm going to start with Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright's one of the pitchers I definitely want to get exposure against. Washington bats are going to be fantastic in this one. By the way, I've taken a look at their lineup. Their bats are also very, very affordable. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you have to stack cores, then you might be able to get a few cores bats along with the ace pitchers that you want and mix in some Washington. But Washington is one of my favorite stacks. Absolutely love them. Minnesota against Brett Anderson is another fantastic stack in my opinion. Brett Anderson struggles versus lefties and righties. His whip is actually higher versus lefties. He struggles to get them out in general. His K rate is extremely low, and righties especially hit him hard. Okay? So you know what to do. Nelson Cruz, Rosario, these guys... well, not Rosario. Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano, all these righties for Minnesota and lefties. It doesn't matter. Just because Brett Anderson is a lefty doesn't mean you can't play lefties against him. So play those lefties of Minnesota. They'll be just fine. Brett Anderson's another guy I want to pick on. And that's about it. Those are my two favorite spots today for bats. All right, picking on Kyle Wright, picking on Brett Anderson, and then I've got a few other spots. So let's start off with bats. All right, starting off in the outfield, my favorite bat on this slate is Juan Soto. I know I've been promoting a ton of Juan Soto, and I haven't ended up with a ton of him in my lineups recently, but that's just because I've found better options as the day has gone on. But honestly, today, I don't see that happening. Juan Soto is absolutely elite versus right-handed pitching. He's one of the best hitters in the league, if not the best right now in the league. He makes contact, has tremendous power. He's a double-down candidate every time he's out on the field. Now he gets a fantastic matchup against Wright. And like I said, Washington's one of my favorite stacks of the day. Wright struggles so bad versus left-handed bats that this is going to be ugly for him. He is going to get rocked. All right, Soto has double dong potential in this one. He's one of the safest bats on this entire slate. I don't care if he's a Coors bat. I don't care that he's not a Coors bat. I'm going Juan Soto. Washington is my favorite stack on the slate, even above Colorado and Houston. All right, love Juan Soto. Speaking of that, gotta love Adam Eaton at only 3K, lefty versus right as well. I mean, it's just a beautiful matchup. You got to look at the numbers. Wright struggles so bad versus lefties. This is going to play like a Coors game. Washington is going to put up a ton of runs. At least that's what the numbers are telling me. And I go off of numbers. I go off of research. All right, so it just is what it is. At the end of the day, Wright is horrible. He has not been pitching well at all. He is not a good pitcher. He is a gas can. And I'm going to take full advantage of it with some Washington bats, who actually this offense has been hitting very well. So Juan Soto, Adam Eaton are the first two guys I really love. I want to talk about second base because they've got that young guy over here. They've got the young boy over here for Washington. Let me see if I can find him. Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia is only 2-3, another fantastic value. The fact that they have made Washington so damn affordable in such a beautiful spot is a situation you have to take advantage of. Love Washington. Luis Garcia is another fantastic value. In the high five, I'm going to finish it off with Sterling Marte. Sterling Marte is a guy that I can expect to go low owned. He's got the righty-lefty matchup against Luzardo. Luzardo struggles versus right-handed bats. It's a very solid matchup for Sterling Marte. And low-key, under the radar, Marte has been absolutely dominating the ball. He's got a 360 batting average this season. He has been getting on base with ease. He is like smashing, okay? Now he gets a plus matchup against Luzardo. Righty-lefty matchup. I think he's going to be a low-owned guy, and at only 3.7, he could end up having a fantastic game in this one. All right, so that sums it up pretty much. Juan Soto, get Washington, prioritize Juan Soto, get some Washington, mix in some Minnesota bats. Like if you can get Nelson Cruz too, so be it. Get the pitchers you want because at the end of the day, these pitchers are elite on this slate. All right, we have multiple pitchers on the slate that are elite. DeGrom, Cole, Glasnow has been a very solid pitcher at times. Lance Lynn, Rich Hill, Paddock, all these guys are solid pitchers, and they're all on this slate. So I don't see a reason to have to force in Colorado. If you want to get a few, then I understand it. And I get that a lot of people are going to be promoting Colorado, of course. A lot of people are probably talking nothing but Houston and Colorado right now. I get it. Problem is that the numbers don't really preach that outside of them just saying, oh, yeah, Colorado, you always want to stack there and just moving on. All right, numbers are saying that Castellani and Valdez have been actually very solid pitchers. Could they get blown up? Sure, but they've been very, very solid. And outside of that, there's only a few bats on each of these offenses that have been consistently good. All right, so get those consistently good bats if you want to get exposure to it, but don't really, I don't believe you have to full stack. But hey, I could be wrong. But on this slate, I'm gonna be okay with being wrong, taking these other spots because honestly, I believe Washington's better than Colorado or Houston today, and that's just my gut. I'm all over that. All right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, greenlightdfs.com. Join the squad. Good luck, y'all. Let's kill it. And I'm out.